Go ahead.
My name is Christine Benally, and my dad's side of the family's been living in this area for, I guess, since a millennium, many millenniums. So my Nutley, they used to live down there, about a mile north of us, and that's their latest establishment. They also live from there towards that rock over there that's called Kaitso. It's a plant, and so means big. And there's some earthen dams down there. That's where cattle ranges all the way down towards that ridge over there. And at the north end of that ridge there's also another settlement, or I don't know, I guess camp, sheep camp, that's called Satra. That's where we used to live too, and started his family. So we made the houses here, and so that this is where my dad left from to go to the military in World War II. And according to my aunt, Mary Henderson, she's gone now. She was telling me that my grandma used to herd sheep all around this area, praying that my dad would come home safely. So there's areas where there's like piles of rock. They call it Sanajih. It's like an altar, and this is also something similar to this is also I guess noted in the Bible. Anyway, it's like sacred rocks. It's like an altar, sacred rocks on dirt. So that's I'll take you over to those sites,
Okay.
and if you want to stop now, then we can continue.
Yeah.
Or you have
Yeah. I'm
questions?
here. I'm here. Assisting and helping Christine Benally, and she's having a hard time with the Navajo Nation. What company is it that's giving you a hard time about the? You're not trying to stop the the process. You're just trying to tell them to go around a site on your land, your family's land is what you're trying to.
Yeah, there's a lot of people still here that's very traditional, and there's a family, Ronald Brigade, that live east of the store, the Little Water Express. They've had ceremonies like Yebiche fire dance and Nadat, they call it enemy way too, or squad dance. And there's many of these ceremonies take several days, several nights, and for the Nadat, they take a staff from one home by clan to another, and when they're coming back, they overnight. And usually the overnight is, I don't know, say a mile or two within where the original ceremony is, and they usually have that along the highway right where the turnoff is from the US 491. And so when they were staking out these, I guess, where they were going to run this Gallup Navajo pipeline, I went to Ronald and I said, well, I thought that those areas are sacred. And so he said he already told them. And for some Navajos, you just tell somebody once, and you don't have. It's really, I think, inconsiderate for people to keep bringing, keep saying, oh well, it's only one person that's complaining. But I guess I'm just not the type that'll say one thing one time. But also my cousin who lives closer to the store, a few of them that live along the store, they were told, and we were told also, that that water line could be used to take water from that water line, create an earthen dam, have some a pond there for livestock, and we could even use it for irrigation. This guy that came around to my, I was at a grazing committee meeting in Sheep Springs a few years ago. I think it was in 2017, and he approached me and he wanted me to sign this consent form, and I said, yeah, I have the permit, but I'm not. My name might be on there, but I said, traditionally we hold it for the family, and that's how I hold it. I have to consult with my family, and then also my cousins who live in the area. I said I can arrange a meeting, you can come back. So we did. And my aunt's daughter came because she has a grazing permit in this area too, and then my other cousin from maybe like 2 miles north. So we met with this person named Howard Martinez here, And that's why he said that this line was going to be coming through, and that there's an area over here where they could build an earthen dam, and then they could let some water from the pipeline into that to fill up that dam, and that we for livestock, and that we could use it for irrigation. And so I told him, I said, well, I want it in writing. I said, give that what you said, I want it in writing, give it to me. And then I was going to hang on to that consent form that he said. I said, well, I'll take this and share it with the rest of my family. He says, no, I need to take that. So I just took a picture of it, and then he took it. And and later this guy was coming around to my cousin's house, really banging on the door. He actually scared her, and I told her, why don't you file a police report against him? And he would just sit outside her house for I don't know how long, many hours, I think. and so anyway, it's just very harassing manner that way. And and my aunt, I mentioned my aunt, not my aunt, my cousin who lives closer to the store, she said the same thing, that they were told her that they would fill up her earthen dam and they could use it for farm. And this was just recently, like I said, since 2017. But before that, these people came around even up towards Sanosti saying, oh yeah, we're going to bring water out here for your irrigation, for your farming, for your agriculture, your livestock. So that's not what's happening now. And I understand it's going straight to Gallup. Yeah, then the money, the communities along the way need to come up with their own millions of dollars to tap into that line. But then they still have to, I guess NTUA is going to be taking over that line. NTUA, Navajo Tribal Utility Authority, are going to be taking over. Well, they maintain the lines here, and then we pay electric and water bills to them. So it's just more business for them. But traditionally, we prefer to be on spring water, on natural water. That water is coming from Navajo Lake, and there's people I know that posted on Facebook that's whose family members died. This guy named Michael Yaki, he was the former IHS director in Rockville, Maryland. So he was just not a director locally. He was overseeing all of IHS across the country under the Trump administration. And his father died, his stepmother died, and his brother died. And so I guess they cremated their bodies, and they took their cremated ashes up right below Navajo Lake, and put their ashes in the water. And for Navajo, that's a real big, I guess some people will call it taboo, but what we ingest, what we expose ourselves to, and what we eat, we hold that sacred. So to have a dead body come into or be exposed to it or be near it can cause you elements. It could be, not maybe immediate, but on down the future. So to have that go into that type of omen, or whatever you call it, come into your home is really not good. And so I don't want that coming into my home. And some other people have said that too. And I have pictures of them putting this ash and their ashes into the San Juan River. And that's what they want to run through our Navajo land, into people's homes, into Gallup and Wind Rock, and I don't know where else this line is going. And I've had people tell me that they want to run this line down into Acoma, to Zuni, and who knows where else, maybe into Texas. So it's just another project that these people have, and that the Navajo Nation signs on to, lying to the people. I remember I was a young girl. My grandfather was a council delegate, and they were going around, to people's homes saying, "Oh yeah, you're going to get electricity," when they were running those high voltage power lines. I have family that live beyond this ridge that don't have electricity, and they want to renew that Tucson transmission line, and those people don't have electricity out there. Yeah, they have, some of them have solar panels, but I feel like, of anybody, they should have been the first one to get that. And yet, they're lighting up homes in different areas, and they don't have running water also. They've been asking for running water, And you see that road that goes over that ridge over there. There's a gas line that parallels that road. So they were telling my uncle Tom Mark that that it's too rocky to run a water line. And what he told them is, well, there's already a pipeline there. Those people ran that pipeline and they didn't say it was too rocky. So it's like, yeah, if people are requesting certain things, they're throwing up all these obstacles, they're throwing up all these excuses, and yet at the same time they're lying to the people to get these projects running through our land. And the Navajo mine is east of us, probably about 7-8 miles. And when they're blasting out there, we could feel the shocks over here. The other day I was over there giving water to the sheep, and I hear this boom. I look up in the sky, it sounded like a thunder, and I'm looking around, so there's hardly any clouds in the sky, and I thought, what the heck, what's that sound? And after a while, you could see the plume of that, the dust coming up from over the rocks over there, the ridge. They were blasting for coal over there, so we could feel the shocks over here, and that's probably why our houses are shifting here. My windows don't close properly, and my doors don't close properly also. So there's all this, I guess, like symptoms, side effects that we're experiencing, and all this money is going to the Navajo Nation government. It's not coming to us. The only people that benefit are probably the politicians flying around, going to DC, Las Vegas, wherever, or those people who are working for the Navajo Nation. But people like me out here, I think the only time the tribe ever gave me money is during that hardship, like $1,500 or something. And I have a brother that's handicapped over there that lives in that blue house. He stays with my mother, and she's probably like 92 or 3. My brother's handicapped from the neck down. He can still move. He's got incomplete quadriplegia. He had people coming over from social services to help him clean his house, but they don't provide that service anymore. And then they're always saying income, but yet the nation's going out there, the politician, the government is going out there asking for money that they can 638 contract and say, oh yeah, we're providing these services, we're providing public safety, we're providing justice, but nothing. We don't get any of that out here. We had a nephew come around with an AR shooting up the sheep because he runs his dogs loose and they attack the sheep. And then I called the police, and then they sent out a rookie who I understand, based on a documentary that they did, went through the police academy twice. They probably just felt sorry for him and they just passed him. But he came out doing an investigation, and I told him I wanted to have it go through towards prosecution, and I don't know if he did. That's the type of incompetent police force that we have, and the judicial system just sits on these cases. My brother put a restraining order against my nephew. It was continued for 9 months. Either the court was closed, the judge was going to be all of a sudden out of the office that afternoon, or I don't know, some excuse. I think a couple of times our attorney decided to continue it because his morning case ran late. And so we're into June, July this past year, and my brother had to go into surgery. And we asked the attorney to ask for a continuance, and then now the court saying, well, you guys are always saying you're continuing. We would continue this for many months. It's like, this is the first time my brother is asking for a continuance because he's in the hospital, and it's been them continuing the case all this time. So anyway, finally, then it's just so bizarre. And anyway, in the end, they just closed the case because they couldn't find the guy, and the court kept saying, well, it's up to the PD to serve the person. PD saying it's up to the court to serve the person, and nobody served the person. And that's why they just dismissed it, and they said they'll reopen it once they find the person. It's like, well, they have all the connections. They have the social security number that they can just find somebody anywhere. Anyway,
yeah, pretty much the Navajo Nation doesn't really do anything about especially the police department. Yeah, they don't follow through pretty much on any investigation. I don't know how I know when it comes to somebody passing away on the Navajo reservation, that the FBI comes in and does the investigation. So, yeah, I'm going through it. I've went to the Navajo Nation president's office and exercising my, Navajo Nation Bill of Rights, uh, which the state statute under that is it's under one dot in NC State Statute 1 through 9. State Statute 4, freedom of religion, speech, and the right of assembly and to petition the Navajo Nation Council shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion, prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the Navajo Nation government for redress of grievances. So I was sharing this with Christine here, and so I wanted to assist her with whatever I can, and with you guys' help that subscribe to the channel. This needs to be heard. So, and I just want to ask you a few questions. So what is your primary concern about the Navajo Gallup water pipeline, and what's the company called?
They've had several contractors, but when money is appropriated for this project, was signed off in 2009 by President Obama at the time, and so the money goes to the Department of Interior and to the Bureau of Reclamation, and they have contractors run these things. So from milepost 71 south, there was a different contract. I don't know exactly what happened further down towards Gallup, who were the contractors, but it's a different contractor right now from milepost 71 north, and they're running the line, I think, towards N36 now, and so that I think that the names of the contract are on those signs, and I can show you where those signs are.
So you want to go over there and do that and show the viewers and subscribers that support the channel?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment on what you read about the title, the Bill of Rights.
Yeah.
We have the right to assemble, we have the right to protest, we have the right to voice. But when we do that, we're blamed, we're targeted. And what we're trying to do is protect sacred sites, protect under the United Nations Indigenous Declaration of Indigenous Rights and Title I, our fundamental law. And there's several laws to protect sacred sites that the U.S. has also. So that's what we were exercising back in 2020. And the president of the Sanosti chapter, Jeannie Haskell, apparently wrote a letter to the IHS director for Navajo area. I guess at the time it was Rosalind So, and I didn't know that. I mean, if she's expressing care and all that in there, and yet she doesn't even bother to come to me before she shoots off this letter, and she signs it, and it's about this water line, saying that, and the letter is so bizarre because she mentions this road is mine, my road, and it's like that road is, you can see stakes on the side. It says that it is Navajo oil and gas, and they should be maintaining that road without any nudging. And anyway, so she writes this letter saying that I'm either shutting down, I'm trying to stop it, I'm trying to alter it, I'm trying to reroute it. And it's like the letter's all over the place. Which is it? Am I trying to stop it? Am I trying to alter it? Am I trying to delay it? So anybody who had some sort of sense in comprehending language in a letter would notice that this letter is all over the place. And yet the Indian Health Service takes that and starts targeting me. And I told them, I said, well, I'm exercising my fundamental right, and then she was saying that I AIM out here and all that. But how AIM got involved in the American Indian movement was before I brought my issue to the chapter. There had been several permittees meeting months before I got invited to that meeting. And this was in 2019, maybe it started in 2018, but they were not pleased with where the chapter was targeting the land to create a cemetery. They were looking at some land near Twisado and some land near Table Mesa, and the people from there did not want it in their area. So they had been meeting, I guess, at Table Mesa, according to the grazing official, Eloise Brown at the time. And so then I was walking and I was listening to the call, and they said that the person that was hosting the meeting had gotten sick, so they weren't going to meet there. And I said, well, we could meet at my place. And I just volunteered my place because I have a concrete slab. And I just said, we could meet outside. Just bring your mask, your chair, and dress warmly. So I started hosting the meeting. I guess that interpreted to them as if I was spearheading this whole thing. And one of the people who was coming to the meeting wanted to get a resolution passed. So we did from the Diné Medicine Men Association, and the vice president from there, Alvin Keyswood, invited the American Indian movement to help with that. So I didn't know about those guys or who were the members. So then in that letter that this person wrote, that Jeannie Haskell wrote, she said that I was bringing them in. So she just put everything on me. And I was just trying to help out these people's, expressing their concern, kind of like what you're doing, listening to their concerns. And we just, anyway, in the end, it just felt like, the chapter officials weren't listening to the people. They were actually targeting them. And then the same thing happened with this whole, later on, with this whole helium that they were trying to, bring in lease to. And I talked to some of my relatives living in this area, and one of my aunt, she just said that years ago when the officials at those time would come around to people's homes and update them on what was going on, projects, and if there was a proposed projects, they would be the first to know, and then that's how they would know and then understand a project, and they would consent or not consent. But now, like these Bureau of Reclamation people or whoever, these transmission line people, they just go to the chapter. And those people who go to the chapter, Sanasti is like 15 miles from here. The people that go to those chapter meetings are not from here. They're not impacted, so they just vote. And I happened to call in, and this is when we still were able to call in, that transmission line was on the agenda. And I mentioned it to them. I said, I keep telling you guys, I said, you can't be putting things on the agenda without the consent of the individuals that live out here. I said, my aunt lives out here. Is there a document attached with her consent? And then Jeannie Haskell says, oh, well, you guys just don't come to the meetings. It's already on the agenda, and yet you guys call from over the hill into these meetings and I guess complain. And I said, this, and then she just says, well, it's already on the agenda. Let's vote.
That's what the leaders that we elect to sit in these offices to assist the people. That's what they call redressing. When you're redressing and you want to petition your government, they say you're complaining. That's the big problem with it. They don't understand. They don't understand the Navajo Nation Bill of Rights. They don't read it. That's the same thing with the United States. Within the United States, with what in the community that I'm involved with, the First Amendment. They call it 1A. Yeah, in the press. It comes back to the president and all the government officials aren't being taught all of this. The amendments of the United States. They just don't read it and they just don't abide by it. They know it's there, or they actually understand what the Constitution is about, but they just don't abide by it or read it anymore to this day. That's the reason why we're having a big problem within the government, with our government officials across the United States also. And I just wanted to, Sanasti in Navajo is Sanasti Olea.
Where the chapter is, it's called Toyagai. About 5 miles from there eastward, that's where it's called Sethnasti, where the mesa from the south of the highway to the north side of the highway, they cross.
Yeah, okay.
Ethnasti.
That's why a lot of my viewers are, Caucasian, and I just want to inform them what, and these words that they're when they're uh, interpreted into Caucasian, it's the word is kind of thrown off to like Sanasti, and it's actually the correct way to say it is Sanasti, and she's
Tsanasti.
Sanasti. Yes,
That's what some people think is Tsanasti, like
okay.
a
That's
circle.
that's what I thought. So
Yeah,
now
yeah,
you're
it's
now I'm understanding.
uh-huh.
Sanasti. Is that how you say it?
Tsanasti.
Sanasti,
Yeah,
and that means crossing
or
over in the cross.
crosses.
Okay.
Yeah, the
See,
crosses.
I
Yeah.
understood it the other way, like the first time you said it, like
Yeah.
a yeah,
Tsanasti.
yeah.
Some people say that, but that's incorrect.
You're local, so you
Yeah.
you know. All right. So you want to go to the site and
Yeah.
we'll.
One other thing I wanted to mention about that letter is that I didn't know that that letter was sent. So I was just wondering, all of a sudden at work, I just started getting targeted. Like I can't go to email, I can't send emails, I can't go to meetings with the Navajo Nation, I can't travel. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And before that, the area director at the time, John Hubbard, and the CMO, Chief Medical Officer, Doug Peter, had assigned me to work with the tribal epicenter. So that's how I was involved with the Navajo Nation through the Navajo Nation epicenter. And years ago, we applied for funding, a proposal to establish the epicenter, like 10 years ago or something like that. So I have a history with them. So all of a sudden, this lady comes around, Rosalind Soul, saying that I can't be doing this. And I'm just like, what the heck is going on? Just then, the epidemic, the COVID epidemic hit us, and I'm immune compromised. So my doctor, my rheumatologist, told me to go home, stay home, don't go anywhere. So that's what I did. And I was just like, well, I can't do anything. I can't go to meetings or anything. So I just started researching, stayed update on the research of what was going on with the COVID pandemic, number of cases and all that. And I was doing my epidemiology work, emailing the Navajo Nation president. So Navajo Nation president, kind of fast forward, when the change in the administration happened from Trump to Biden, you usually get new directors. And I did tell him, I said, no, I'd be interested in the directorship. So what does he do? He nominates Rosalind, and she gets to be the area director. I mean, from area director to the nation director. And I find out that later that she's the cousin to Jonathan Nez's wife, Ferfilia. So talk about nepotism. So anyway, that's what happened within the IHS. And then later I also did find out that Amber Crotty, I thought I was working with her on the sexual assault issues, and I guess she sends an email to Rosalind So that I was requesting data, and I'm like, the data request didn't come from me. It came from a sexual assault nurse from Chin Lee. She wanted Navajo nationwide domestic violence data and sexual assault. I don't have that data, and I can't release it to her. So I forwarded her email to the Navajo Nation because they would have the Navajo Nation data. Even if I was to do a search, I would only have access to certain service units. That's like half the Navajo Nation data, and I can't release it anyway. So Amber Crotty forwards that email to Rosalind So. And so that's like twice, an email and a letter going into her office about me, and without talking to me, without getting to the bottom of why these data were being requested or how I was involved with that, they just start targeting me.
Okay,
like a removal, separation.
These names that you're mentioning, what positions do they hold? Are they...
Well, Amber Crotty is a council delegate from this area. She's supposed to be representing the people here.
in the chapter community?
From the chapter communities of Sheep Springs, Sheep Springs, Two Gray Hills, Wildness, Anasti, Cove, Red Valley, Batlabato. I think those are the chapters she... Gari'a too, I think.
Okay, then the other person you
Jeannie
named?
Husky is the president. Well, she's outgoing now. She's the president of the Sanasti chapter.
Okay. I just wanted to ask you one more other thing before we move on. Iladanend.
I'm Betani and Tradesani Bashichin and Twidijitni Dashanale. This one of my cousins that lives closer towards the store here, not Sheep Spring, Little Water store. She always says this is Twidijitni Kaya.
Okay.
And that's how a lot of the people still feel, even because this is still their land. and from the Navajo Nation government and U.S. government, they'll say it's trust land. But I think that, way back, the colonialists just start claiming these lands. Oh yeah, this is my land.
Yeah,
And so even when the Spanish and Mexican came up, they claimed this area. And so there's this Louisiana Purchase right.
Yeah.
They didn't consult the tribes with that purchase. So I think that purchase was illegal.
Mm-hmm.
It was illegal to claim this land from another area when you didn't even consult with the tribes. So anyway.
Yeah, so our names, our English names are actually our colonial names, is what it is. So, yeah, so che shin shlon na kenne was shin. Kana gani das che kiani das another. Yeah.
And
All right.
I just wanted to mention also my dad, he was a code talker, and people say, oh yeah, we respect the code talker, we honor the veterans and all that, but what I wanted to mention is that I mentioned earlier that my Nellie and my grandma, my dad's mom, was herding sheep in this area, and her prayers are in this area. They're still in this area. They were voiced. The sounds came out from her lungs, through her thoughts, and to the prayer. And some people say that, like, even with a drum, when the drum starts beating and the singing starts, wherever that sound goes, that's where it's sacred. And so it's been heard, her prayers have been heard all in this area. So when my dad said that when he was discharged from the Marines, he caught a train from San Diego to Gallup, and then from the Gallup he got on a bus. So he got off the bus right over where the turnoff is to my Nalia's place, and my grandma was herding sheep on the west side of the road. So he got off the bus and he saw that my grandma was herding sheep over there. So I guess she saw him, and I guess she started running. No, stopping, running. Hananstiko, that means you run and then you stop. You run and then you stop. And so they both met each other and they embraced each other. And I know they get emotional when I hear that. When I even talk about it, that it must have been a great home welcoming for them, very emotionally. So that's what I told the chapter, and that's what I told the Bureau of Reclamation when they were proposed in this area. I said that pump station, that tank, you told the people that you were going to put it over at Little Water so that they could use it for their farming and irrigation, and yet you're putting it over here, right where our sacred area is. And usually that the Dao ceremony, the enemy way ceremony, that people leave the first camp, they put corn pollen in the horse's mouth. So that's, that wherever they go, it's a trail is spiritual. It's a blessing. It's a protected trail. So that's where they're putting that tank too. And I'll take you on that road. There's a road that goes along the ridge that goes up to where that prayer site is. That's blocked off. That's fenced off. You can't access it. And these sites, you only access from the south and from the east. So they're blocking our way to the church, I guess you would call it. So it's just very bizarre. I think it's just still very violation of our rights to freedom and
culture,
religion. Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna move on, and she's gonna take us to the actual place where they're putting the water pipeline, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
What they call it, ati.
Oh,
So they use these roads. And this is the road that we use. I guess mostly like a lookout, right? When you're looking for sheep and cattle. Go to the high points. There's a road here that goes towards our house, and that's the old road that we used before that they fenced off our road. I mean, they fenced off the highway. It was that road back there.
regarding to your lawsuit, what is the current status?
I like to know.
Sounds like they're really not keeping you informed.
Yeah. Well, my attorney got suspended by the state, so he's not supposed to be practicing. And after 6 months from the day that decision was made, then he can practice under supervision.
So you wouldn't know what would be the legal foundation for your lawsuit neither, right?
Mm-mm. See, now they're blocking our road. See this road? They have all these things sitting here, and we can't. And then they have that big. They put all that big hill right there, so we can't access our altar, our prayer site.
So this is the prayer site you're talking about?
No, yeah, it's over on the other side.
On the other side.
So,
you plan to hire another attorney?
I was looking for it, so if you know somebody, you can.
Yeah, if anybody local that knows an attorney that can assist Christine here, you can get a hold of me at fourcornerfistinair@gmail.com.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, well, they have all these things sitting here, so how am I supposed to get to our prayer site? And I think all these equipment here, they're outside their right-of-way area. Their right-of-way is over there.
What was the number of this highway here?
491?
491.
Yeah. You were asking about the company?
Yeah.
They have their sign over here.
This is the highway that comes from Farmington, Shiprock, Cortez.
No, not Farmington. It's Gallup. Gallup to Shiprock.
From Shiprock to Gallup, actually. You can get a good picture of that video of that sign.
They cleared out that whole area up there, and this is their right-of-way down here, right where we're at. You can see going straight south. This is their right-of-way, but yet they're clearing out more land than they're supposed to be doing. Archer Western. I've called that guy, Kenny Jaramillo. I've left him messages. He never returned my calls.
Okay. So you've got in contact with all these companies? And no return calls?
Nothing.
And these companies are hired under the Navajo tribe, Navajo Nation? Are they
Bureau of Reclamation.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's what I was looking into.
See, everything on the right here, that's outside their right-of-way. So they're just like, okay, free storage here.
So in your mind, how was communication with the Navajo people handled?
None. There is no communication. They talk to the Navajo government out of Window Rock,
Yeah.
but that's the government, not the people.
The best advice I would give you is to start documenting, videoing every time you make a phone call. And if you're gonna go visit these offices, government offices, go in there and take your phone and film your conversations with them for documentation. Yeah,
See, all
to have
of this quarry here,
proof that you.
this is off the original right of way that they requested. See that road that we were on comes through here, it goes that way.
Yeah.
Along the ridge, right by where that yellow equipment is. It went this way straight to the north.
That's where we came in from.
Uh-huh.
On the other side of that. A forklift there. And this ridge here is sacred to your family.
Yeah. This is where my dad's riding his horse. My brother, after my dad died, drew this painting. So he said this down here, that's the ridge, this ridge that we're on right now.
Really?
And that's the horse that my dad raised, and its mother died when it was probably a day or two old, so he bottle fed it. And so when my dad died, and that's the horse we put down for him to ride into the spirit world. And my brother said that's my dad on the horse.
Really?
With his corporal.
Somebody they might have had that was a.
Yeah, with his corporal stripes, these Marine stripes right there.
Okay. What year did he serve?
And he served from 44 to 46 in the U.S. Marines during World War II as a code talker. And this is facing west, and that's the beautiful mountain over there.
Nice, yeah.
So this is where he's riding his horse all the time.
So
And they're digging it up.
A lot of people need to understand that
See that pile right there? That pile of dirt right there? They just dumped that there. They're just trashy. They have those big green tubes that they put in the ground. And at the end of each of those tubes, they have a white plastic that was blowing around all the way out there. I kept picking them up, and I kept thinking, what are these plastic? And I was coming out to the highway again one time, and then I saw those plastics blowing around near those things, near those pipes. They're just dumping their trash here. What the heck is this?
something new to you?
Yeah, I hadn't seen that before.
Is that some kind of, who said they're draining something?
It's that. I need to pick up that trash. It looks like sandbags or something, but it's made out of plastic, and that plastic's gonna blow around all over.
That plateau way in the back there, that's Table Mesa. You guys, is there a Navajo name for that?
That's called Bitahazka.
How would you pronounce that in English? As you can see, it's called Table Mesa because it's flat on the top. Bitahazka. And
Yeah, that's. They're saying that road should have been either on the east side of that peak or the west side, preferably on the west side of that mesa, because that's where the ceremony was held for the twin warriors when they came back from their battle. So that's a sacred site.
so that's a another story that I've heard of, but I never really been told the whole story of
And some people, they say
the Twin
that
Warriors.
And some people, they say that they can hear and see horses around that area at night. And there's some more trash right there.
So specifically, what do you want to see happen now
See
that
that
the
trash
project is
right there?
where it's at? Yeah.
And that's going to blow out there to where the livestock are grazing. Well, I want them to keep their word and put these tanks out there where they said they were going to do it so that the people can use it for their farming and irrigation and their livestock. That hill over there, that's a sacred site
Which one is that?
right there. To the,
This one here?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Let's talk about this one
See, the road came through here from the ridge. It goes.
here. Okay,
the
this
road
is where they all dug up here.
Yeah, the road goes right there, right where the flag is flying. It goes through there. So they just, we can access it from the other side. And they fenced it off.
And that is Shiprock, New Mexico. In the background there. The monument.
They need to maintain this fence. This is letting them blowing around all over.
I know you had some signs down at, on your entrance of your land there.
Yeah, I had gotten the supply, but it's AIM that put those up. The AIM guys.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
the road comes through here.
It's a windy.
This is a continuation of that bridge that we were driving on. So right where that fence is right there on the side of that tank that they put up is where the road crosses over the ridge from the west side to the east side, and it comes down along here right on the other side, right along where we drove, on
Yeah.
the side of that trash pile, and then over towards where that flag is flying. And like to have us access the prayer site, like I said earlier, we do it from the south or with the east side, not from the north, not from the west. They did allow a space to drive along the highway down there, but that's from the north. So it's like you're coming from the north and you're coming from the west, and you can't do that. How the leaders of the Navajo Nation is allowing this to happen. Yeah, they want water to go down towards Window Rock and all that, but at the same time, even up to Biden, they're saying, "Oh, we're protecting sacred sites, we're protecting religion and all that." But it's like, no, they're not. It's at the expense of somebody else. Always.
Money, greed, and power. So I know, how would you describe your feelings about the project here?
It's really gut-wrenching.
I'm pretty sure that you helped your mom and your grandmother with livestock on this land.
Oh yeah, we
And they took care of it, and they told you that it was a sacred site.
So this is where the road came down from.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to take a picture of that. You probably have to get out.
What is that there now?
It looks like it's just a manhole to the pipe.
Okay. Okay. She said it's looks like a manhole to get down to the main water, the pipeline.
We got their toilet paper flying around all over. Like,
At least has some respect, right?
really.
So, what would you like to?
Toilet paper. I need to take a picture of that too.
For people that don't really know what's going on the Navajo reservation, what would you like to tell the people who support this channel?
Would you pause it first? I'm gonna take a picture of the toilet paper. What they're discharging over here. They can't just be discharging any old waste out into an open area.
Are you talking about where that that place is something draining? Yeah. So what's a big would you like to let the people who support this channel, because this channel is about transparency and accountability to especially the government, you know.
Well, recently the Navajo Council and the president, they passed and signed legislation stating that Navajo language is an official language of the Navajo Nation, and that they want to have their culture and tradition being practiced. So they also ought to know the type of water that they're drinking is not good, especially with having it be around it from an area where there's cremated ashes going into that river, and these are ashes of they will call them non-Navajo white people of other tribes, and this is what they're going to be drinking. I would like them to know that.
And they had that King Mine spill too. That's what they had. How many years ago was that?
That's when Russell Begay first went in, so probably 8 years ago.
Yeah, and that happened up in the San Juan Mountains, the Bensa, and
Silverton.
And that water comes down the same water source that comes through Shiprock, New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's plastic blowing around all over right here too. Wash out, no swimming. What is that? What the heck does that mean? Are they dumping waste in there? Oh, that plastic.
I don't know what they're making in there.
Did you see that sign that says wash out?
Yeah, it says no swimming. Alright, I'm gonna
call this guy again.
You think he'll answer?
I doubt it.
You gonna try calling him now?
Call him about all that trash.
You can put it on speakerphone if you can hear him.
Let's put it on speaker. I don't know why they put up a number if they're not going to be answering.
It's the government for you.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up.
Hello, this call is for Kenny Jaramillo with Archer Western. It's really windy out here in Little Water, and I noticed that there's trash coming from that construction site. There's plastic blowing around. There's piles of plastic. There's an outhouse with a door that's blowing open, and toilet paper streaming from that outhouse, that porta potty. Please come out and pick up all this trash. It's blowing out into the grazing area immediately, because the wind is supposed to reach like 17 miles per hour today, and you guys need to be responsible for your trash. I see that there's boxes out here we'll wrap in plastic that's blowing around, and there's like some sort of swimming hole that's been built with plastic lining that's blowing out. It says no swimming on there, and also there's a drainage on the east side with looks like sandbags made out of plastic. You can't just be draining waste out into the open area. There needs to be a clearance for all of that waste to go out into an open area. You're not authorized to be draining anything into the grazing area. Is there anything I left out? They had taken some dirt out, and there were piles here, and I noticed that they took them. I don't know if they just leveled them off or what they did here. Because this was all, there were like piles, like beams.
Yeah.
And it's all flattened now. I don't know if they moved that dirt somewhere else or they just flattened it out. I'd like to know what happened.
Okay, so I'm gonna end it here. Is there any last words that you would want people out there to know about?
Well, they're talking about protecting sacred sites, and there's that whole ridge is sacred. This whole area is sacred.
Right.
And there's another area on the other side of where that rock is. That's also sacred too, because they had a J there too.
Oh.
And a J right up here where the turnoff from the highway is. So this is where they already buried the line, the pipeline. So we're probably driving right over it. So the area where they got the original right of way, according to the map they showed me, is probably like, I don't know, 30 feet wide maybe. But you can tell back there is like 100 feet wide. So we put up these signs Well, I had some lumber and T-posts. We do we have fences, we have pasture, and so we use those T-posts. So I had this lumber that I gotten, and that one of the meetings when I mentioned we were having about the cemetery, I gotten paint and plywood. So they helped the people from the AIM. They said, well, let's do it now. So they painted these signs and they put them up. They actually had doing the pipeline at first. So what I said was there's areas south of here, like at Little Water and Sheep Spring, Newcomb, Sheep Springs, Nash City, where they ran the line between this fence, the highway right-of-way fence, and the highway. And I said, do that there, do that here, run it on that side. Put that pump station over there where you told the Little Water folks to they would use it for their farm. So that's when these signs went up. So they did run the line through here, but they dug a hole down there and they dug a hole here, and they ran a pipeline underneath. They didn't disturb the top side, the topsoil. They didn't do the actual digging, but they drilled under the ground and they ran it from maybe where that pole, the blue pole is, past here. So this is where the H&J would happen, on that side and this side. And when we told historic preservation, they came up, they did a map. And you know what historic preservation did? They drew a circle, but they moved it away from this fence. They moved it out that way. That's how
So they thought they could solve the problem.
It's like they just lie. They just lie. And they say, oh, well, here, it's on the map. It's like, well, the map doesn't show exactly where and you know, like when they have these H&J, it's a huge site, right?
Yeah.
You see all these, I can imagine years ago it was probably wagons, but then now it's vehicles. It's like a whole bunch of vehicles all over. It's not like in a small little circle right here.
H&J is a Navajo ceremony to help the sick, to heal. Is that how do you probably have more knowledge on it about the H&J?
Yeah. So we'll go north of where the pump station is.
You had a sign here asking them to relocate the pipeline, the water pipeline.
Yeah. I probably have a picture of it somewhere. I can send you some emails. Yeah, see this, where the fence is with the yellow fencing, I mean not yellow, orange fencing, and the state highway right-of-way, there's a road that goes along in between up that way. That you can get to the prayer site from there, but it's accessing it from the north. And you don't do that.
We're on the north side.
Yeah.
Of the site we were just at.
Yeah, and you did ask me what I would like to tell the people. So what I would say is, this water, it's like drinking water with dead people in it, and that can cause other problems like cancer or arthritis or inflammation, and it's just not good to consume a dead person's body. So I guess that's the message I would like to. And what's the cure for that? How are they going to? Is the Navajo Nation and the U.S. government going to put up funds to have people have all these ceremonies? And what they say is that you don't go to like a burial site or a person where a person died. It's called Chishcha or Jeshcha. That's what this water is. It's Chishcha water. And that's why if there's a ceremony and people who are more traditional, they only drink water from a spring because it's pure and doesn't have all this dead bodies and in there. And the people do die in San Juan River. And you did mention the Gold King mine, that it settles there, and it's just the spirits of those people, those dead people that are in the water, and people are going to be consuming it.
Right.
So, yeah. What?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the road towards my Nulla's place, my grandma, and we didn't have a sign here that says relocate the pump station, but they took it down. I don't know what they did. They didn't tell me. I don't know what they did with that sign. So that's destroying property, private property. So basically, I just think these people are just trespassing.
Is that your grandma's house way down there?
Yeah, my grandma stayed in a house a little bit north of there. It's like a hogan. So that hogan that's there, and the house there that was my Bijou, my aunt, my dad's older sister. It was theirs. My aunt died probably like 5 years ago. The same night my uncle died, and they're both gone now. But my cousin, she's got a home site lease down there, but she's probably going to move back sometime. She recently got her home site lease approved.
Okay. Is there another location that you wanted to go?
We can go down towards Little Water. I can show you where the farms are. That's where some of the people were told that this tank and pump station was going to go down there, so that they can use it for their farm, for irrigating their farm and for watering their livestock. And to grow corn, melons, alfalfa, whatever.
So this is from the water line, is what they said that.
Yeah.
These are the fields that were going to be assisted with that water line.
Yeah. So yesterday I just shot off another email telling that, for them to keep their word. Yeah, that maybe because Senator Lujan shot out an email stating that, he's trying to get funding for this Gallup Waterline project. And I just said, okay, well, if you're going to do that, get us water, include in your budget for us to get water or drill for water so that we can use the pure water instead of the water that comes from San Juan that is bad. So this is the wash that comes down from Sanosti. So that further up that way they have a diversion to feed the fields, but that's all messed up. So that so all these farms here, the farms go all the way down to where you see those high voltage lines. There's fields down that way, and that's where we also used to move to. That area is called Tetra, and the houses that my dad, my aunt, and my grandma had are dilapidated, and they're basically fallen in over the years.
These are, looks like original hogans here.
Yeah, that's my aunt and her dad and her brother. See, here they ran the water line here between that right-of-way fence and the highway. They didn't go out there, out into the area. So this is where the water line is. We're just right off the highway. So if they could do that here, why didn't they do it that way up there? And they were saying, well, the state highway needs to give their approval. So I contacted the state highway, and they say, yeah, the project manager just needs to contact us. And I mentioned this to the tribe, and then Richard Begay from Historic Preservation tells me I had no right to talk to the state. And what the F?
Telling you don't have no rights?
Yeah. And so I fired off a letter back to him. I said, I can talk to whoever I want.
That's your right.
Yeah. Like, you can't tell me who I can talk to. I said, my father was a code talker, so you wouldn't have that position if it weren't for my dad and other code talkers. So here's some more of those fields. And the fields go all the way down that way. Can't see them because of the shrubs, but there's basically all of this area have fields.
And what is, can you inform us again what type of fields that we're going to use these for?
Oh, they mostly like crops, like
Okay.
farming to grow corn, melon, grass, alfalfa, probably vegetables, onions, potatoes. Those are the crops that they used to grow. All organic. The best kind of food to get instead of food that's genetically altered or have pesticides or herbicides on it. Preservatives. So that's where I mentioned the Little Water folks were told that they were going to get that, use that water from that tank to irrigate their fields, agricultural fields, I guess. So I don't think it was too much to tell him, okay, well, let's go ahead and move that plant down here so that they can use it instead of just sitting up there where no one can use it. See where those tanks are way over there? This power line kind of goes right to it. There's like two kind of like beige or gray looking tanks.
Way back there.
Yeah, that's where they're extracting helium. They have about 3 sites now and up in that area. See, years ago they had a bunch of oil and gas wells, you know, those pump jacks they call them, all over around here. And the pipes are still in the ground, and from that, the water, groundwater under us is contaminated. That's what I heard from one of the hydrologists that works for the tribe. His name is like Tej Torek or something like that. Some Middle Eastern guy. He said that there's a plume under Little Water and it's moving southwestwardly. It's from all that oil and gas activity that happened here. So that's what I was trying to tell the people here when they were proposing expansion of the helium out to the foothills of the mountain further over there. And I guess they were really wanting to extract helium from the beautiful mountain too. That's the mountain that was in that painting that I showed you. That's that beautiful mountain. It's called Desecration. That's basically what it means in Navajo. So we were able to, the Navajo Nation Council still passed in 2019, but thank God Jonathan Naz, he vetoed that legislation. So there's hopefully no further attempts to extract helium from there. But here in Little Water, they still have those, and I heard that they were planning on expanding northwardly. And I don't know if the people that live over there consented to it, because what they'll do is just run to the chapter, and the people who go to the chapter who are not from the impacted area will just vote for it. Because they're told, oh yeah, well, we'll give you some money, but it's like, people, get it in writing. Don't just go with what they say.
I'm going to end it here. Share, like, and subscribe. And I hope you understand Christine Benelli's frustration with the water pipeline project. And with this channel, Full Quarter Fist in the Air channel, I'm just trying to spread the word. And you said you had other people that were saying that they were going to assist you get the news out, but never came through.
Yeah, there was a time when, well, actually, I guess that about 4 years ago, there was a cousin of mine that she was going to ship out. She texted me there's some companies or some equipment parked at Aunt Mary's house in Turnoff. That's where the Turnoff where we were at. And so I went over there. It was, I don't know, about 7:30 or 7, something like that. It was early in the morning, and there was a drill pump there, or a drill truck there. And I asked them, what are you doing? I said, new nobody gave you that consent to be here. And I said, I'm going to call the police on you. So I called the police, and you know what? They had me escorted. But then I told a grazing official, Eloise at the time, and then we called Marley Shabala. Marley was there with us the whole day, and I gave her documents, and she said she was going to write it up. And I never saw anything that she wrote up. Maybe she did. I just didn't see it. But I'm not sure why it didn't happen, or she didn't share it with me. So, there's one other thing I want to say about this area here. When I mentioned it, when those companies were here extracting oil and gas, they put in this airstrip, and that airstrip was in here, this way, down that way. You can kind of see a clearing on either side. So that's how fragile this land is. They'll come in and say, oh yeah, we're going to reclaim. But this was like over 50 years ago, and nothing grows here. There's barely tumbleweeds that come out, but you see how along the hill there's grass, and over on that side of the highway there's grass. Nothing. The grass never came back. And on that side, so all those oil tycoons from Texas, they used to land here, and it's like, well, did they have clearance to build this airstrip? It was dirt, but we used to see planes landing here all the time.
Yeah, just right over the hill, so you guys heard.
Yeah, and you could hear those. And the other thing I mentioned about the sound of the drum and the singing is when they used to camp here for the J. And if it was a little bit of moisture in the ground, you could hear them singing from the house. You could hear them singing all night. You could hear the drum going, and it's, I guess, it's soothing to hear it at night while you're going to sleep. So I've asked BIA to reclaim this area. They wanted coordinates, so the grazing official and I came out here. We took the coordinates of this whole strip area. And so we took the coordinates back, and then the lady at the BIA, Roxanne, said, oh, we don't do that anymore. That program was contracted to the tribe. So I don't know who at the tribe, and that's the other thing with the BIA and the tribe, they just keep pointing fingers to each other.
The runaround game.
Yeah. So when they're saying, oh yeah, we're going to line a pipeline and we're going to reclaim it, the grass is going to grow back, and they show you all these pictures about livestock growing, sheep growing there with all the grass. It's not going to happen. That's how fragile this land is, especially with all the drought and everything. So to see, like if there was grass here, like we go over this hill, you'll see grass on either side. That's how this area was. You can see how the grass is along the ridge. There's more grass there. And then yet they'll say, oh yeah, you're overgrazing. BS. It's those companies. We never got a cent from them. See how the grass is here?
All right.
Yeah. And then on that side, there's grass here.
Okay, I'm gonna end it here, guys. Thanks for
Thank you.
watching. I'm out.